Howdy, and welcome to the introduction of the KRISYS robot. The goal of this video will be to show you how the robot works and what it does. This is one example of a completed KRISYS robot. Note that it has a unique shape. You are certainly allowed to customize it the way you want, or you can just leave it as the square you got in the kit. That's up to you. Let's take a look at another KRISYS robot performing the Race of Champions. As you can see, the robot uses the sensor board on the front to follow a wire on the ground. This wire is charged with a square wave of 10 kHz at 10 volts peak to peak. So now you may be wondering, how exactly does the robot do this? And what sort of sensors is the sensor board using to follow the line? The sensor board is divided up into 3 channels. Each channel has an inductor soldered underneath it. Those are the little black cylinders shown here. Inductors are neat because when you pass them over a charged line, like exactly what we're doing with this robot, they get a small current induced in them. This electrical current is then amplified by each channel individually to what's called an active low signal. Basically, if the inductor is over the line, its channel will send a 0-volt signal to the corresponding header pin. If the inductor is not over the line, it will send a 3.3 volt signal. This is easy to tell by the LEDs at the top of the board. If the LED for a channel is on, then that channel's inductor is not over the line, and vice versa. If the inductors ever seem to not be reading at quite the sensitivity you want, just adjust the white knob for that channel to dial it in where you want. So now, because the sensor board has 3 channels, it will produce a 3-bit signal. Each bit is interpreted as either a 1 or a 0. If the signal is 3.3 volts, it's a 1. If it's 0 volts, then it's a 0. It's that simple. These bits, through the wiring you'll set up, will get sent to the controller board. The controller board could be anything from a TI Launchpad to a Raspberry Pi, or even a Basis board like this one has. They look different and act different, but for the purposes of this video, they all do the same thing. That same thing they all do is to take that 3-bit signal produced by the sensor board, process it, and turn it into signals to control the motors. This processing of the bit information is done in what are called states. So, say your robot veered off the track a little left. The sensor board would then send a reading of, say, 100, or even, perhaps, 110. The controller board has to be programmed to use that information to make the robot turn right to get back on the track. And, to turn right, it'll just give a little more power to the left motor than the right motor, causing a right turn. This motor control is done using PWMs, or pulse width modulation. That's a topic we'll cover in another video. We hope you enjoy your experience building your KRISYS robot and learning about some electronics while doing it. Thanks and gig 'em.